It's all right if you're not a pagan that twists and makes it into something evil. And, you know, it's amazing how Christmas and Easter, all Christian holidays, are under attack by, I was going to say fools, but probably just foolish Christians. It's like Christians are attacking the celebration of the greatest events in the world, the coming of Christ and the resurrection of Christ. Those are the greatest things that ever happened in the entire world. And now there are factions circulated every Christmas and every Easter now. I get sent videos and emails and all kinds of things trying to tell me that it's bad for Christians to celebrate Christ's birth and Christ's resurrection. And it's just, man, I've got to watch some words. I started to say stupid. But this is the greatest day, this is the greatest celebration Christians have, period. There is nothing greater than this today. And honestly, just to be able to bask in the glory of this day and just realize what it means that Jesus Christ is risen. What it means that for thousands of years the entire world had a problem, a sin problem, that was not dealt with and that they were looking for someone to come. I can't imagine being part of what mostly was an agricultural society and raising animals, the firstborn of which would be sacrificed as a picture of the ultimate sacrifice. And just thinking personally what it would be the day that Christ was risen and realizing that those sacrifices are abolished. Isn't that neat? I mean, now my firstborn animal doesn't have to be sacrificed because God gave His Son for the ultimate sacrifice. And what an amazing, just something simple like that, how amazing that would be, that for as long as man has been alive since the first man sinned, it's been necessary to offer sacrifice for remission of sins. And now a once-for-all sacrifice has been offered and Christ has risen from the dead. And now I'm alive. Before this time, up to this moment, everything is temporary with regard to sacrifice. But now there's a once-for-all sacrifice. And the Lamb was risen from the dead. We're going to look at that here this morning in just a minute. What a great concept it is that Christ is risen. I hope you know what it is to have new life in Jesus here this morning. Know what it is to be alive. It's wonderful to be alive through Jesus Christ. And so we're celebrating that here this morning. And there's a great story about the song we just sang. He lives. Why should I worship a dead Jew? That's the question. And I'll tell you why. Because He's not dead. He's alive. Amen. And Jesus is alive. Well, there are some things that are happening tonight. We're having a finger food fellowship. And specifically what that is a pastor's wife's appreciation celebration. We're going to appreciate Mrs. Price this evening. So if you want to bring her a gift or do something really nice for her, then that's what that Finger Food Fellowship is all about. Last month was Pastor's Wife Appreciation Month, and we had things that kept us out of town, made it so we couldn't really do anything last month. And so tonight would be something. And Mrs. Price needs to be appreciated. She should be appreciated. And so it's something that's important for our church to do. And I always hoped our church would just do it, but this year I just mentioned it to our church, hoping that they would appreciate her. She needs to be appreciated. Before we move on, let me just tell you this. She does 9/10 of the work that's done in this ministry. You have no idea the work she does every day and every week. Mrs. Price does. Nobody works harder at reaching people in this church than Mrs. Price does. Nobody does. She works hard to reach kids. She visits all week long. She visits kids and calls kids and works on them. Nobody works harder to reach the ladies in our church than Mrs. Price. She takes care of the ladies' ministry entirely, and she's always following up with. Every day she's counseling with and working with ladies in our church. Nobody sees that, but she does it all day, every week. Nobody works harder at the books of this church. She does books for 3 churches. She's accounting for Fort Lauderdale Baptist, Marathon Baptist, and Miami Beach Baptist, all 3 separate churches, and she keeps the books for all 3 of those. And then she takes care of me, and that's the biggest of this team. So anyway, I just think we should appreciate her. So we're gonna have a time tonight of appreciation, and I think it would be appropriate for you to do anything that you can think that would be kind to show that you appreciate having a pastor's wife like her. Let me say one last thing. I've never been at a church that had a better pastor's wife. I'm serious about that. I'm really serious. And I mean, I've been in a lot of churches. I've served in great churches with great preachers, but none of them had a wife like Mrs. Price, and that's a fact. And matter of fact, almost every pastor I know, every preacher I know tells me things similar to that. I'm serious about this. Most preachers tell me, your wife she's just, I've never met anyone like her. She's just wonderful. And that's why I married her. So we could have Pastor Smart appreciation someday. Married Mrs. Price. That's the greatest achievement in my life next to my salvation, marrying my wife. Okay, then tomorrow night we have visitation at 7 o'clock. Come out. We'll have a good time tomorrow evening. And I'll be there, in case you're wondering. Sometimes people find out if pastor's coming on visitation, and then they don't go if I can't be there. I'm here tomorrow. I'm in town, and I'll be at visitation, soul winning, tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, and so you can come. And then Thursday also, we have a service in Miami Beach, but we have soul winning down there at 5 o'clock. So whatever time it takes to get there before that, we need to be aware of that. Then this Saturday is the teen activity, the Heat versus the Toronto Raptors. Statistically speaking, this should be a game that the Heat win. Why, you say? Well, because they've been losing a lot lately. So, should be a good game to go to. $25 gets you a ticket. We've already got your ticket. Give that $25 to Taj, and you are in. There's a sign-up sheet in the back. And then Sunday, don't forget about our Miami Beach Baptist Church service. I had some people ask me, are we having a sunrise service this morning? Well, the answer actually was yes. I watched the sunrise this morning while I was on my way to Miami Beach. And so that's the sunrise service. The early service is in Miami Beach if you want to catch the early service as well as the later service. All right, that's it for announcements. I'm going to ask